The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. It's Down to Business with Jack Miller. Forget what they teach you in school. This is real life, not Wall Street, but Main Street. He and his guests will answer your questions and provide you with valuable information. Stay tuned and join in the conversation. Follow them on Facebook at Jack Miller Down to Business or on Twitter at HJackMiller1.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Jack Miller. We're having with us today Andrew Pollack. I said it before. I wish we didn't have to do this. This guy has faced unsurmountable horror. Andrew, thank you for coming back. We got literally over 20,000 downloads and hits from the last time you were on. People are so interested in you and love you and your family. Before I begin, I don't want to ask how you're doing, but I have to ask this, how you and your family are coping. It's probably been 8 or 9 weeks since you've been on the show.
We're working. All of us are working in Broward and around the nation on things that are helping kids be safer in their schools. That's what we've been doing nonstop, and we continue to work. We're working on a lot of different projects in Florida, and we'll be up in D.C. towards the end of the month.
Gotcha. So your Fix It program, it seems like it's taking hold nationally, and people can check it out at americansforclass.org. But I want to talk, and I asked you on to specifically talk about Richard Mendelson, because you told me he's critical to your agenda in the Broward School District, I think number 6. So maybe
Correct.
Talk about why you support Richard Mendelson, and we're having him on next. So I really want this to be almost an infomercial for Mendelson, because your support is unbelievable, and people love you and your family.
Thank you so much. The reason why I'm supporting Dr. Mendelson so much is he's not a political correct candidate like most of them out there. He's going to speak what's on his mind like I do, and he's going to let the other board members know what's not right and what leniency policies that he's either backing or against. So it's very important to me, because we need a majority of the votes in the school board. So if just Ryan, who is my good friend, runs at large, and Lori Al-Hadef wins District 4, we need Rich to win District 6 so we could get a majority of vote and send Runcie back to Chicago where he belongs.
You've become almost like a political strategist through this. Like before this tragedy, were you involved with politics, or like what do you do for a living? Because it seems you're so laser focused on this, which is good.
Well, I'm laser focused because they let my daughter get murdered at the school, Jack. That's why I'm laser focused on what needs to be done, and I don't want other kids to be subject to these policies in their schools, because most parents don't know about these policies. They sneak it in. It's leniency policies that infiltrates the school board, and most parents don't know about it, Jack.
Well, we appreciate all your advocacy on behalf of every parent. What other candidates are you supporting?
Well, we need Rich to get in, because Rich won't be coerced by any of that cancer that's infiltrated into this school board. So I really need Richard Mendelson, because I want to tell everyone he is the most qualified out of all the board members. Rich has a PhD in industrial psychology. Rich actually taught school at Marjorie Stoneman. He worked there at least 12 years. He graduated from Stoneman Douglas. He knows the system. He has a student in the Broward school system. And he knows what's going on and what needs to be fixed. So my main focus is getting Rich in. Ryan Petty's running at large. He's a good friend of mine. And Lori Al-Hadef also are all friends.
Okay. Well, we're going to do what we can. We're going to get Rich on next. Andrew, I thank you for helping us to fix it, your agenda, And all I can say is God bless you and your family. And again, I'm sorry you have to go through this. But hopefully you'll solve the problem by your sheer determination.
Yeah, we're going to get this done, Jack, and help. We're going to help Broward County come back from the doldrums of political correctness.
I appreciate it, Andrew. Thank you. Regards to your family, and God bless you. And I just wish you strength and courage every day.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Does your company need financing to help with cash flow or make a purchase? Gelt Financial Corporation has been in business since 1989 and knows the financing that businesses need to succeed in today's competitive environment. Gelt offers a wide array of programs such as accounts receivable, factoring, asset-based lines of credit, commercial real estate purchase and refinance financing, and bridge loans. If your business needs financing, call us right now at 561-221-0900 to learn if you qualify. Gelt Financial understands that every business is in a unique situation, which requires a unique solution. We pride ourselves on thinking outside the box to secure even the most difficult financing. Call us right now at 561-221-0900 or visit us at geltfinancial.com. That's GELT Financial.com.
Hello, everyone. This is Jack Miller. I wish I was talking to you today about a funny subject or, I don't know, something enjoyable. But sadly, we have to talk again about school violence. And it seems to me that we have to keep talking about it until the problem is solved. For the second time now in a row, we heard the heartfelt words of Andrew Pollack, who lost his precious daughter at Meadow at the Stoneman Douglas High School, I guess 6 or 8 weeks ago, 9 weeks ago, I don't know, whatever it's been. And we have with us one of the candidates, Richard Mendelson, who's running for school board of, I think it's the 6th district. And I want to bring Richard on because whatever the issue is, Pollack came up with the right words. It's fix it. We just need to fix it. With that, Richard, are you with us?
Yes, I am, Jack. Thanks for having me.
Richard, it's my pleasure. And again, I wish it was under more pleasant circumstances. But first, I just want to make sure I get the facts right. You're running for school board in the Broward County school district number 6. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And you're endorsed by Andrew Pollack, who strongly supports you to help solve this problem.
Yes, Andrew's been a very, very strong supporter. He's out there. He's knocking on doors with us every day. He's contacting people in the community. He's really been shoulder to shoulder with me and also with the brother of Coach Aaron Feist, my friend Ray. Ray has been instrumental in the effort as well. Aaron was one of my best friends since we were kids, and that's why we've got to get to work. We've got to get in. We've got to get to work and make the system a safe place for kids.
So I think you know, but just to tell our audience that Andrew Pollack told me that the election of you is critical to make changes at the school board. And I want to let everybody know, including you, that I reached out. I think her name is Lori Rich Levinson, who you're running against. I reached out to her by email, by instant message, several ways, and offered her the platform to be on the show and interview her, and I haven't heard back. So I believe you're a psychologist who works at the school?
I don't work at the school anymore.
Okay.
I'm an industrial and organizational psychologist.
What, out of curiosity, I need a psychologist, I need a psychiatrist, I need to be medicated. My wife reminds me every day, but what is that, out of curiosity?
Well, an industrial and organizational psychologist is someone who helps organizations make better decisions about their personnel, their human capital.
Gotcha. So,
yeah,
did you ever see the show Billions?
Systems. We go into organizations that have flaws or issues or, things that they're not working properly. And we create plans of action. We put them in place and we correct those flaws.
Okay,
and
very
we
interesting.
measure everything with scientific metrics and, we make sure that things run properly from that point forward.
Interesting. So Tell me about your platform, what you're going to do, and I want the people of this 6th district to hear it directly from you, why they should go out and vote. And it's just critical that people don't sit on their backsides. They be proactive to solve the problem. And again, express yourself. Here's your opportunity.
Well, it really comes down to something that Albert Einstein said it a long time ago. He said, to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different outcome is the definition of insanity. At this point, my opponent has been on the school board for 2 terms. That's a time period of 8 years. And in that time, the things that are important have not really been addressed. Our district knew that the schools were not safe. They got a bond referendum where they allotted $100 million just for school safety issues. And that was in 2014 or 2015. And in the time since then, since they got that money, they sat on it. They didn't take action. They did nothing. And, as far as voters are concerned, to sit back and to allow my opponent to have a 3rd term as a school board member, that's the definition of insanity if you expect a different outcome. Personally, there are 3 main parts of my platform. The first one is obviously school safety. That's paramount because when it comes down to it, it doesn't matter what curriculum, kids are exposed to. It doesn't matter how they're scoring on tests if kids are not coming home safely at the end of the school day. And we need to put an emphasis on making sure we do anything and everything within our power to mitigate risk and ensure that kids have the highest probability of getting through a school day and returning home safely. The second part of my platform is fair pay for teachers, for paraprofessionals, for security personnel, facilities personnel, essentially school board employees. I'm a 2nd-generation educator in Broward County. And, in the time that I've been here, people have never been paid a fair or livable wage in this area. And you have people who are highly trained, highly qualified, highly educated. And to treat them as anything less than the professionals who they are is really, it's an egregious insult to anyone who's involved in the education profession.
So let me
The
ask you a
difference
question.
between me and my opponent is I'm not going to sit and complain we don't have the money to fix things. I believe we do have the money. I just believe it's been mismanaged and poorly spent. And I believe that as I get in and I start to dig through where the money's going in the district, and I start to eliminate things that are being funded now, like these 6-figure fake jobs that people have because they're someone's relative or someone's friend, we're going to be able to recoup a reasonable amount of money and be able to use that to ensure that we work to bridge the gap for the professionals in the school system. The final part is accountability. You mentioned before what happened at Stoneman Douglas. As crazy as this may sound to people, in the time since that happened, that was February 14th. We're in the middle of July right now. And not a single person who was a sitting school board member, nor our superintendent, have stepped forward and said, I was in a position of leadership during this time and I've got to own part of this. None of them have stepped up and said, listen, we knew this was a possibility. We didn't act, and we need to do some work if you'll allow us to do what we can to make this as right as it can possibly be.
So couple quick questions. You talked about teachers' salaries. What's the average salary in this district, out of curiosity?
I'm sorry, you had a good bit of echo. What was that?
I said, you talked about teachers' salary. What's the average teacher's salary in this district?
So here's the thing. When you're looking at mathematically, averages are misleading. You do have some people who are topped out, meaning they've been in the system for so long, they're still on what was the old system of pay, which was a step system for salary. So every year you got a modest increase. And even on that scale, it took 20 years for a teacher, or actually 22 years for a teacher to max out on that scale.
And what was maxed?
15 years for a teacher's base salary to break $50,000.
Gotcha.
Now we have this pay for performance model, and the pay for performance model, in my opinion, is even worse, because what they've done by putting teacher salary and making it dependent on performance, now they've incentivized administrators at school work sites to rate teachers lower in order to save money for the district. So there's an issue, there's a dichotomy. On one hand, you have administrators in Broward County who on an annual basis are rated as some of the highest level administrators in the state. On the other hand, in Broward County, you have some of the teachers, and you have the teachers in Broward who are ranked as some of the lowest performing in the state. So it doesn't jive, because the model that we work under now, administrators at school work sites are considered instructional leaders. They are the ones who are held accountable, supposedly, for ensuring that teachers are doing the job the right way in the classroom. If we have the best administrators and their job is to make certain that teachers are performing at a high level, then how is it possible, on the other hand, our teachers are some of the lowest performing in the state?
So
I don't believe that that's reasonable.
So what I'm hearing is what you do for a living, you go into companies and fix things, you're going to do for the school board. That's what it sounds like. On the school board, I didn't realize it was that long ago when I first said 8 weeks or 6 weeks. It feels like yesterday, this tragedy. But has anything substantively been done to fix the issue or make the kids safer?
Yeah, I think and I apologize, I'm hearing a very bad echo.
I apologize. I said, has anything been done to fix the system or make the children safer than before the tragedy?
As of now, no. Now, here's the interesting thing. Recently, Broward County just decided that they're going to adopt this the Aaron Feist Guardian Program, which means they're looking to train former law enforcement and former military personnel to be on site on school grounds with firearms to be able to ensure that if somebody shows up with the intent of doing harm, they're going to meet resistance. And that's something that Andrew Pollack has been adamant about from the very beginning, that you need to have people there who are not just willing, but also equipped to address that threat. But see, here's the problem with what Broward County has done. Broward County has chosen not to act for several months. They fought against it. They voted it down. They said, no, we don't want to do that. Then they recently adopted it because they had no choice. It's a state law. But what has happened now is school starts in the middle of August. Now, by the middle of July, Broward County has to identify and retain the services of at least 80 to 100 people who meet the criteria for that position. Every single one of them has to have a psychological evaluation by a licensed clinical psychologist. Every one of them has to be trained. They have to go through at least 140 hours.
I think the public gets it. It's impossible to do it by the middle of August.
Absolutely not if you're looking to do it right.
Gotcha.
And see, this is what the problem, I believe, is in a lot of issues in Broward County. You know, you don't have people in place who are monitoring these types of changes. They're not going to continue measuring them. And you're not going to have a continued effort to ensure that these personnel are assessed on a regular basis, monitored for performance, and that they're still able to meet a standard. Just because you meet the standard now doesn't mean that you will 6 months or a year down the road.
I got it. Richard, can you give out
monitored effectively?
I got it. Can you give out your contact info? How do people get in touch with you, follow you, support your campaign, and help you? Because that's, I think, the most important job I can do is to get people behind you.
Absolutely. That's the crux of what we need. We need people who are willing to volunteer, make phone calls, walk and knock on doors with us.
How do they get in touch with you?
Okay, so you can get on Twitter. And you can go to @Mendelson BCPS6. That's the Twitter handle. You can go on Facebook and find the group Mendelson for Broward County Public Schools. You can also go to our website, which is www.mendelsonbcps6.com. And if you're interested in volunteering, you can just email us at volunteermendelson@gmail.com. On the website and also on the Facebook page, if people are able to donate, you can click on a link there and you can do that. And everything, any amount, no matter how big or how small, it's appreciated. I mean, even $10, that's 20 different mailers that we can send out. So, it means a lot to us.
Richard, I got it. And I hope everyone goes out and supports you and gets behind you. And I want to tell the public one more thing, that you have a very cute dog. And I know dogs and little babies sell. So I gave you a little advice before the show. I said, push the dog, because if you're single or if you want votes, dogs and babies. I'm joking around, but this is a serious issue. Richard, thank you very much. I want everyone to go to his website, contact him, and I've spoken to him. He's a good guy. Richard, thank you very much. God bless. And listen to me. I'm a father. I know it may be a daunting, thankless job that you're trying to do, but I really want to thank you on behalf of every parent out there. Thank you, brother. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your support. Thank you for having me on.
We'll be back in a few minutes with more, folks.
Did you own commercial or investment real estate that has liquidity in it that you can't touch? Do you want and need liquidity? There is finally an answer. Quick Liquidity is a direct real estate private equity company that can provide preferred equity, mezzanine financing, or second mortgages on commercial and investment properties across the country. Deal directly with the decision makers by calling 561-221-0881 or visit us at quickliquidity.com. That's quickliquidity.com.
Hello, everyone. This is Jack Miller. Thanks again for joining me. I'm very excited about our next guest because our next guest is not a celebrity. She's what I call salt of the earth. She's a mom who contacted me, frankly, religiously to get me to put her on, who's been working to advocate for school safety, I think, since Columbine. And after speaking to her and reading a lot about her, I wanted to have her on for a minute or two. Donna, are you with us?
I am.
Donna, did I get that right? That you're, I don't want to say just a mom, parents are the most important thing in the world, but you're a mother who got involved with school safety issues since Columbine. Is that correct?
That is correct. Right after Columbine, I went to my school board and started asking questions and trying to help get safety into the schools.
And I just want to set it up for everyone, to give everyone, I want to give them a sense of your devotion. We don't know each other. You contacted me, I believe, after Andrew Pollack was on the show and tried to get me to advocate more for school safety. And by the way, I love your Fix-It shirt, and Pollack's going to love it too. That's correct?
Oh, yes, that is correct.
You were dogged about it. You contacted me. So, Donna, maybe tell the audience quickly some of what you told me, how you found it very difficult as a tax-paying citizen and as a mother to speak before the school boards.
Well, I went, and I was the only parent there after Columbine, and they came out and just said, "Who are you and why are you here?" Before the meeting, I introduced myself and said, "I'm there for school safety." They said, "Okay, thank you very much." And they went on with the board meeting. And I sat there and waited for them to ask me, questions. And they finally said new business. And they said, "She's here because she's concerned about school safety." And this was my hometown school. And they said, "We appreciate your concern, Ms. Tidwell, but this is Jackson and that won't happen in Jackson." And, laughed it off kind of, and I was the only one there. And then they said, "We're going to adjourn for executive session, and anybody who's not a member can leave now." And that was me. So I walked out of that meeting thinking something's kind of wrong here. I wasn't asked to speak, and they just effectively told me to leave the meeting nicely.
And talking to you, it sounds like that's happened to you time and time again, where they've tried to stifle you. I don't want to put words in your mouth, so why don't you tell our audience what's going on and how you've gotten attention?
Well, about a year and a half ago, I appeared before the school board again after we had some problems as here in Jackson with mold in one of our schools. They said they wanted to tear it down. It was a historical building. So a group of citizens wanted to remodel it instead, but they cited the mold as a safety issue for the children. So they tore the building down, even though we had a places of peril petition in place, but they tore it down, and they didn't put it on the ballot that they were going to tear down the building. That was a big thing. They just try to go through and not put anything on the ballot for the people to know. So then when the citizens found out that they were tearing the building down versus remodeling, and a lot of people got upset, and they just tore the building down as quickly as they could. So I tried to kind of come together and heal the community between the school board and the community, and tell them that I had faith that they were going to do a good effort on getting the school safe again. And then they clapped and applauded me a year and a half ago, and they said, "That's great, we'll do something." Well, I never heard anything. They kept telling me that they couldn't discuss public policies with me. And I said, okay, I'm just here to help. But, they said it's kind of private. So I let it go and everything. And then when I saw what happened in Parkland, it just really struck home again. And I thought, this is just wrong. A year and a half later, we haven't done anything here in Jackson again. It's been going on for 20 years. So I actively started, going to try to do something. And I went to the school board, tried to follow procedure like I had a year and a half ago and asked 48 hours ahead of time. I actually did it 2 weeks in advance by writing, and they postponed me, stalled me, and then finally the superintendent and the president of the board told me they'd meet with me, and I went in there and met with them for an hour. We had a long talk about Andrew Pollack's 8-point plan. They were not willing to give on the metal detectors at all, even though I had funding, from the university locally that said they would help us get it. They flat out just said they would not put them in. They didn't think we needed them, and they wouldn't ask the school board. They said that they would convey my thoughts to the school board in executive session, and if they wanted to go through with it, they would. If I could get 4 out of 7 board members to agree, and I told them I thought I could get 3, but I wasn't sure about 4, and that they effectively follow the lead of the board president and the superintendent. And I point blank asked them if they would support it, and they said no. So I said, well, it's kind of a lost cause then, isn't it? So they denied me the opportunity to speak before the board, and that's when I went live and did a Facebook video for 13 minutes, and that kind of got some attention around here. And the local media got involved, and then they decided they would let me speak last night at the July meeting.
Donna, I appreciate you for shaking it up. Keep shaking it up. And as a parent and as a citizen, you're really what America's about. You take situations in your hand and you try to affect change. Because it sounds like to me with all these school boards, it's an insider's club, and they're going to do what they want unless they have enough pressure on them. Donna, I thank you for your time today. I really thank you for staying after me, because you bugged me to put you on, and I'm glad I did. You're the best. And everyone, I know Donna will want me to tell you this, go and Google Fix It and just solve the problem. We're going to post Donna's social media info, and you can get in touch with her. Thank you, Donna. I really appreciate it. And don't stop.
Thank you, Mr. Pollack, and everyone, and everybody go to your school boards and be a part of it. We can't change it if we don't get them out of there if they're not doing what you want them to do. Change the school boards.
Donna, thank you very much. Have a great day. Everyone, we're going to be back. Hopefully we'll talk about more pleasant things, but we have to fix it and solve the problem. Thank you very much, Donna. Everyone, thank you, and we'll see you next week.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.